a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
All right, everybody, here we go. This is the weekly PWCC hockey auction ending watch closure party with me and my co-host. Let's bring him on right now, Josh Madigan from The Gong Show. Josh, here we go. Yet another week, yet another auction, 332 items. We got like 60 of them starred. We're gonna take a peek at them, talk about some of them, see if you guys in the chat have any you want to talk about. Let us know. How are you? How have you been, buddy?
I'm good. It sounds a little bit better than you today, but hey, you know, your hockey players, they tough it out. Hockey card podcasters and show hosts, they tough it out too. So glad to have you here.
I didn't think, as you could tell, my voice is shot. I am sick, and but we're gonna tough it out. You know, if the hockey, I like the way you put that. If the hockey players can go to the dressing room for stitches and come back out onto the ice, I think this guy right here can be under the weather and come sit in the comfort of my chair and desk and cover some hockey cards ending. So we will do that. What do you think? Let's just get right into it. All right, we've got
Sure.
there's 300. I think it's 322 hockey auctions, and we've starred or favorited about 61 of them, as it says right here. So we're not going to go through all of them this time because we want to make sure that we can address them all, at least look at them all. But you know, just to go through these first three here from the 33 O-Pee-Chee, Josh, the first O-Pee-Chee set ever. You know, they produced cards until 1940 or 41, took a hiatus, came back in 68, and came back under their own brand to 68. But they did manufacture the Topps cards in the earlier 60s before the brand name changed over. But in any event, Howie Morenz, not a rookie card, actually probably a 10th year card, or not a 10th card, but 10 years into his career. Charlie Conacher, this is a rookie card, PSA 2. You'll notice the different colors. These came in 4 different colors, and each player had all 4 colors. And then a Harry Lumley rookie card from 51 Parkhurst, a nice grade in an X-Mint PSA 6, actually, right there. Anything here catch your attention, Josh, that you'd like to say anything about?
Just really quickly, a question for you. Is there any, from like looking at the value, is there a material difference in the colors? Like, because you said there's 4 color options in 1933 O-Pee-Chee. Is there one color that is on average seen more valuable than others, or is it just collector preference?
Great question. As you know, in my experience, I am not aware of there being a premium on any one of the colors. Collector preference, there certainly is. When I was buying cards from this series for myself, I would just take, whatever came up when I was ready to go shopping. And my favorite is the red, which we don't see here. And then I followed by the blue. And then these would actually be my 2 kind of least favorite colors. They're not that flattering. What I love are the stars in the background and just the way these images are, the original backgrounds removed and they're just slapped on this, the backgrounds as we see them. So, but I don't think that there is a premium, but you'd think maybe reds and blues would be the most desired.
Yeah.
They were for me. And my Eddie Shore rookie is a blue. And I think my Conacher, I actually have a Conacher, I believe it's green. So just like this one here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's as far as I know. This Lumley is a really nice card, actually. And, the
color's so vivid.
Yeah. Agreed. Very nice. And of course, I can always recognize Howie Morenz just in the way he stands, the way his shoulders kind of seem to slump forward a little bit. So nice. And at a 1.5, I mean, there must be a crease or 2 in there, but it looks nice from here. This is a 2, same thing. Looks good, presents well from this distance. So not too bad. The Currency Project in the house, Frank Costello. Good evening to both of you guys. Next row here. I love my Tim Horton 52 Parkhurst rookies, Josh. This one looks really nice. It's off center, top to bottom, but side to side looks really good. It's a X-Mint 6. The Glenn Hall 57 tops, a key Hall of Fame rookie card, probably the most important card from the 57 top set. The other two key rookies being the Johnny Busick and the Norm Ullman. And then I think Pierre Pilote is also in this set with a rookie card. And then we have a 59 Parkhurst Henri Richard, a PSA 5. Josh, I know that you guys at the Gong Show have done some work on Glenn Hall, and I believe and appreciate his legacy. And of course, I think we all appreciate Tim Horton. And 2,600 for the 6. That's I don't know how that ranks off the top of my head, but I think that's a healthy number. And the card looks really nice. Anything here for you?
Yeah, the what I would say about the Tim Horton is the whiteness of the cardstock. Really, it's so crisp and bright white. Sometimes you see them more faded. That really stands out. It looks like it might be a little tilted, or
oh yes, certainly
learned this from you. But if you look at the,
oh yeah,
that's the one thing that negative, I guess, that stands out to me.
Yeah, good eye. There's some clockwise tilt here. It's pretty significant. It seems excuse me. There certainly is tilt here. You can tell how wide the border is up here versus down here. But then if you look down here, you can see that the card is actually sitting in the holder on an angle as well, which is contributing to that a bit. But look at the image. The image is wonderful. It's wonderful. The colors are bold. The registration appears to be absolutely perfect. I don't see any slippage there whatsoever. But good eye on the tilt. And if this thing was untilted, it would be a 6.5 or better. I would have to think. So, still a very nice card. Continuing on, some 59 tops. Again, Gordie Howe. I do like this design here. It's an X-Mint 6, decent card for somebody who's working on the Gordie Howe run or just wants a nice early Gordie Howe card. These are interesting cards, Josh. These 1960 tops had a subset within it called the all-time greats, and it was kind of I believe the first appearance of some of these players since back in their old playing days, where we saw them again on cardboard. And Josh, I can tell you, back in the late 80s, I was collecting these all-time greats cards. I don't have any anymore, but I was collecting these back in the day. I thought they were really cool. And I do like this Howie Morenz here, and they're cheap. Like a PSA 8 for $130 or whatever it's going to end at is a nice card. I just think they're super cool because they are vintage, but they're throwback cards or they're commemorative cards, however you want to put it, where they're all-time greats cards. All-time in 1960, Topps was thinking about all-time greats. I think that's just kind of cool. And then a 61 Parkhurst Gordie Howe near mint 8 with the PWCC eye appeal rating of top 30%. Again, a nice card, a cool card. What do you think of these?
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny. So the Howie Morenz and the Gordie Howe were two of the cards we featured on Thursday. And just like you're talking about with the Howie Morenz, that's what stood out to me is it's so common today to see legends represented in modern sets. So we have so many sets or current sets will have a Wayne Gretzky rookie or in the cup, a patch auto. And those cards are very sought after. So you didn't see in vintage that application very often of legendary players because I think this was something like 27 years after he had stopped playing when this card came out. So really kind of like that aspect of it, and think that it's for the time period, it's just not something you saw very often. And then the Gordie Howe, what really stood out to us, and we had a lot of fun, is the whole Gord Howe. And if you look at for like a 3-4 year span, hockey card manufacturers couldn't decide how to spell his name. It was spelled Gord Howe for a couple years. Then Gordie, traditionally, like we see it, Gordie. But then there was a year where it was Gordy.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
In one of for literally 3 straight years in a row, they spelled his name different, which I just thought was hilarious.
Yeah. It is pretty funny. Daniel says here, love when Jeremy talks about card being on tilt. I thought I was the only one that noticed tilts on cards. Yeah, different from being on tilt when you're playing poker. Peter here says, I do think people chase the 33 O-Pee-Chee in red more than others. And that would make sense to me. They are the prettiest, I believe, in my opinion at least. Know a few folks that collect the rainbow. Seems parallels is an old idea. Yeah, these might be
There you
the
go.
original 33 O-Pee-Chee, might be the original parallels for sure. Fan123, who likes to give me a hard time, says just change the channel name to Hockey Sports Live. Well, you don't watch enough to know that that wouldn't be completely accurate, Fan123, but welcome back. Always good to see ya. David Ventura, when would the best time in the year to sell McDavid rookie card be? Well, you missed it, I would say. You missed it. It would have been just at the beginning of the playoffs here. So I would probably wait until he goes on a run next season, or wait until next April leading into the playoffs. Aaron in the house. What's going on, Lapper? Nice to see you. All right, continuing on. 61 tops, a design that never really appealed to me, but when I did that Sets 101 series on Instagram, it grew on me. And so this is a fourth year Bobby Hull, and I guess a fifth year Glenn Hall. I love the looks of the Glenn Hall here, Josh. I just think it's super cool. I like in the background that these pictures are different. It's not this, they didn't sort of just pick one background image and slap every player on top of it. They use some different images. I like these, and they're nicely graded in near mint 8. The centering on this Bobby Hull looks absolutely wonderful, and the Glenn Hall as well. These are really nice cards. They're not rookie cards, but they are Hall of Famer early playing days cards, if you will. So I really like these two cards. And then we have a Rod Gilbert PSA 7, a near mint card. We've looked at these before. I love the color, looks great. Hey, the yellow, the green, his face. This is a really nice copy of it for, being only a 7. And I say that with all due respect that, it's still, 7's a great grade. So you can get into this one, Hall of Fame rookie card. These are just Hall of Famers, but not rookie cards. Your thoughts on those, Josh?
Of the three, I think the Glenn Hall is my favorite, just the best looking card.
Yeah.
And then to me, I think I mentioned this last time, the Gilbert is the Superman or Clark Kent card to me. I can't separate that every time I see it.
And that is fair enough. Joe Perot in the house. What's going on, buddy? Vintage hockey has some cool colors. It really does. It really does. Continuing on, we've got a 62 Parker's Frank Mahovlich and a 62 Parker's Tim Horton and a 62 Parker's Gordie Howe. You'll notice 3 different designs, but that's how the set was. There were 3 different designs used in the 62 Parkhurst series. These two are mostly similar. The players are superimposed over pucks, whereas this one is just sort of some completely unrelated design pattern, but it's pretty neat that they were thinking about it and wanted to mix things up. Near mint to mint 8 on the Mahovlich, a Hall of Fame. His rookie is 57 Parker, so this isn't a rookie card, but that's okay. The centering looks, it's off center, sitting to the right, so not perfectly centered, but easily and well within 8 standards. The Tim Horton, same thing. It's, the centering, it's a little bit high, a little bit to the left, but the colors are bold. Like, this is a really nice copy of the card. And then the Gordie Howe, not my favorite card, and it looks almost like it's a sticker, like you could peel the puck and Gordie off it, but it isn't. It's a card, but probably my least favorite design of the 3, but that is the Gordie Howe. So if you need it, and these are all near mint 8s, you'll notice they're quite affordable. 125 here, 155 and 290, of course, plus the 20% buyer's premium, plus whatever bids are still going to come in. But I selected these cards because I just think they're really nice cards, Hall of Famers, 60s Parker. So really nice. How about you, Josh?
Big fan of the Mahovlich. I think I'm a big fan of pop art, and there's a very pop art feel to me in the design of that card. And so I really kind of appreciate that. I have no idea how he's holding his stick, though. I'm not sure they coach that today. It's a little strange, but really cool card.
Yeah. All right, let's keep on scrolling. Also, we have the Jacques Plante, also a PSA 8 near mint to mint. My same comments would apply as I made to the Gordie Howe. Kind of looks like a sticker, but I think the one thing I like more about the Plante is that his whole body is contained within the puck, whereas, Gordie is too. I don't know what I was thinking there. Gordie is too. So, maybe it's just that Gordie is missing the bottom of his legs, and that's what I was thinking of. Whereas Jacques Plante, you've got the whole image in the puck, which is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool card. It would be cooler though, Josh, if instead of just being a simple white background, if they put some sort of pattern back there, maybe something like one of these, like this purple and bluish pattern, or even what did we see? Oh, like the background of the 61 Parkers with these logos kind of repeating would have been a nicer background than just the white. And it's the fact that it's just the white that kind of makes it less attractive to me. We also have the 62 Topps Bobby Hull, like another early Bobby Hull. It's a PSA 7.5, which is near mint plus. And, you know, I think that people do, we know people do the runs of Wayne Gretzky, Gordie Howe, Bobby Orr. I think those would be the top 3 vintage players. And then you're going to have guys like Bobby Hull, Guy Lafleur, among others. And this is a decent copy for sure. It looks pretty good to me. And then an Eddie Giacomin rookie card, 65 Topps in a 5, and the centering's really nice on this copy. It's a 5, so there's obviously other things wrong with it. Let's take a quick peek at it and see if we can kind of pick out why. Oh, it's the corners. This top corner is definitely not perfect. Same with the top left. I don't know. It looks like there's a hair in the slab right there, and then you got the bottom corners are also a little bit dinged, but not too bad. Maybe a bit of a surface scrape here over his mouth. But hey, it's a 5, and it's currently at $165. Your thoughts on these?
You know, again, not my favorite. I would probably like the Jacques Plante best. I'm not a big fan of portrait cards, and the Bobby Hull, Giacomin kind of fit in that. Although I do appreciate the vividness of the colors with the Giacomin there.
Yeah, and he's like I know how to say just about every hockey player's name except for some of the more current Europeans or Russians, but Eddie Giacomin, I don't know if it's Giacomin or Giacomin. I'm not exactly sure what the correct way to say it is, but it's always fun to take a shot at it. Continuing. 65 Topps, Paul Henderson. Nice card. Everyone knows Paul Henderson scored the winning goal in the Summit Series in 1972 between Canada and Russia. Then we have a 68 Topps, Jean Beliveau, and a 4. I just like card. Usually I wouldn't even look at the Topps cards, but it looked pretty cool. And then we've got a Mr. Hockey Gordie Howe from 69 O-Pee-Chee. Josh, are you still there? We briefly have lost Josh. Let's continue on. 1970 O-Pee-Chee Daryl Sittler rookie, X-Mint 6, coming in at a current $160. Hall of Famer, one of the best Maple Leafs of all time. Card looks decent, does have some tilt, I believe. Let's open it up, we'll take a bit of a closer look. So, yeah, there's some tilt here. Wider border up here than down here, and then the opposite, wider down here, narrower up here. It's got the rough O-Pee-Chee cut, bottom left corner, slight rounding, but like almost not too bad. 6, I think, is a very fair grade for the card, unless there's something that we can't see. Slight registration issue. You see some blue by his ear down here and up in his hair. Fisheye right there. Maybe a bit of fading on the surface with the Toronto Maple Leafs looking like the ink isn't completely bold. But a nice card overall. Then we have the 71 O-Pee-Chee, Ken Dryden. This is a 1.5, and it's a 1.5, but that's an easy way in for somebody who can't afford a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. And I thought we'd take a quick look at it. Yeah, it's got some staining, it's got some creasing, it's got rounded corners, it's got some surface wear. It's a big crease right there, totally dinged corner. But despite all of that, and I mean, listen, the card it's a 1.5. It's not like, it doesn't look like it was driven over by a car or anything. So this will probably make somebody pretty happy who's been working on the set for a long time and just wants to finally add the Dryden to their set. This will be a good option for that. And then lastly, in this page, the 74 Bobby Orr. It's a PSA 6. We always look at these cards. And the thing is, again, somebody who's doing the Bobby Orr run would love to have this card right here. And I just want to see. I was thinking that's just, I think, the light reflecting off of his hair there. I don't think that's an issue in the card. Graded a 6. Looks pretty nice for a 6.
Wow.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah, look. I don't know. I'd have to look at more copies, but is there a bit of surface wear? There seems to be a little bit of like snow showing here in the background. And then I can see a bit of a darkness right up in here, and you see it again down here. Almost like a smoke stain or just some other stain. I don't think that that's a design feature. I think that is a defect on the card, and that might be what's bringing the grade down as well. So, Josh, you kind of missed these 3 here and these 3 here. Anything that stuck out to you?
No, I think just cool representations of mid-career cards from legends and Hall of Famers, and just kind of neat cards that would be cool to have in any vintage collection.
Yeah, agreed. That comment almost describes this whole page. You know, a lot of these they're not rookie. A lot of them are not rookie cards. You know, the Jackman is, and a couple others, but these are just nice, affordable Hall of Famer base cards from, you know, their playing days. And so, you know, we have a rookie here, but no other rookies here. We have the couple of rookies here, and then these are, well, 2 of those 3 are rookies as well. So that's the first page. And just if you kind of joined a little bit late, or whatever, everybody, you're noticing I'm under the weather, so we're probably just going to take tonight and go through all the cards, and maybe just on early and not really wait for the auction to end, but just to introduce and go through some of the cards that we did select to take a peek at. Before we start on page 2, let's just go back to the comments here. Garrett says, I'm looking to get the Makar and the Hughes Upper Deck Exquisite next week. Right on, Garrett. Good luck to you. Carlos, good evening, says David Ventura when he wins a Stanley Cup or retires. I don't understand. Do you know what that is in relation to? No. Sorry, Carlos, I don't know what you're talking about there. Feel free to clarify. Good evening, 90s Hockey Collector. And Peter Collect says, Dryden has really nice centering. Yeah, let's just go back while I read this comment and show that Dryden. So he's talking about this one right here.
Yeah.
Dryden has really nice centering, will help with eye appeal for sure. Folks are picky on centering for that year especially. Yeah, I'm picky on that year for centering because it's so easily measured with your eye based on the outer rims of the oval on the left and right side. Yeah, same thing goes for top to bottom actually. But it's a decent 1.5. Like I said before, this was not driven over by a car like some 1.5s have been. Oh, I see, Carlos. You were answering David Ventura asking for the best time in the season to sell a Connor McDavid card. Thank you for clarifying, Carlos. Yeah, okay, when he wins the Stanley Cup or retires. Before he wins the Stanley Cup. Not when, but before. It's a very finicky hobby that way. So I would actually caution against waiting for either of those 2 things to happen and do them leading up to them. That's gonna, I believe, be a better time to do it. Aaron says smoke stains should add value to cards. That's a lot of money worth of nicotine bled in there. A lot of money worth of nicotine bled in there. Fair enough. Hopefully they don't have an odor. All right, page 2. 1974 O-Pee-Chee, one of my favorite years. I just think the design is so 70s. All the awesome. 70s designs are so 70s. Lanny McDonald, before the mustache, before he played for the Flames or the Rockies. PSA 4. It's a 4, but it's a very popular card, so I'm sure someone will really enjoy that. We have a Brian Trottier rookie. It's a PSA 5. Tonight's auction, it's a lot of this low to mid grade. Like, to me, low grade is like 1 to 3 or 4, and then mid grade is like 4 to 6 or 7, and high grade is like, 7 or 8 to 10. But it's just a great opportunity for someone to pick up a really cheap Brian Trottier, who's a Hall of Famer. He's got 4 Stanley Cups back to back, along with his partner in crime, Mike Bossy, who passed away a couple years ago. This is a PSA 8 Bossy rookie, notorious for being off-centered. This is a Topps card, though. This isn't the O-Pee-Chee, so I should take it back. The O-Pee-Chee is notorious for being off-center. So this is the Topps copy. It's going to sell for much cheaper than the O-Pee-Chee copy would. Any comments on these, Josh?
All legendary players, super cool cards. I kind of feel like maybe at some point that Trottier and Bossy will get a little more hobby love. Maybe they won't, but we always cringe at that term undervalued, and it's so hard to find a replacement for that word at underappreciated. Right? That's probably the best way to put it. But flip side of that is they're amazing players, and you can get those cards really cheap.
Who would, of the two of them, because they were both like equal contributors to their dynasty, and they did have a dynasty. I would venture to say that Mike Bossy is the more popular of the two.
Yeah.
Is that your perception as well?
I think so, and a lot of it comes back to the sort of like a Gale Sayers aspect to him. It's more of like what could have been had his knee been. Did they have the ACL procedure today? Back then, what could have his career been? Because I think, what is it like on a goals per game average or something like that for the decade of the 80s? He's second or third to like Gretzky and Lemieux, something crazy like that, where he just had too short of a career.
Yeah, well, yeah, totally. Just a pure goal scorer. I saw somebody put an Instagram post out today that had a picture of Bossy and said, the purest goal scorer of all time. And then he went on to say, I can't really explain what pure means, but just trust me. And I'm like, yeah, you're right.
There you go.
He is probably one of the purest goals. I mean, listen, Ovechkin's a great goal scorer too, but most of Ovechkin's goals come off the one-timer, which is like, I don't want to say Ovi's a one-trick pony because he isn't, but he really favors that type of goal. Whereas as Bossy had a few more tools in his arsenal. All right, 79 O-Pee-Chee. This is the Gretzky rookie year, of course. We have a Ken Dryden, which is just a nice card. Now retired. It says now retired right there on it, so we can consider this his last playing days card. Same with the Gordie Howe. This is Gordie's last playing days card, the 79 O-Pee-Chee. This one's a near mint 7. The Dryden is a near mint to mint 8. This card to me, Josh, I have 2 Gordie Howe cards in vintage cards in my collection. Well, no, I don't. I've got 4, but I have his 51 Parkhurst and I have his 79 O-Pee-Chee. I also have his 52 and his 54 tops because I just love them. But it's like about the first 3 cards and the last one. I'm not going to do the whole run, but this is a nice looking card. This Gordie Howe. I think it's not going to be the first Gordie Howe card you're going to go buy if you're collecting vintage or your Hall of Famers or Gordie Howes, but it's an easier one to pick off, and this is going to go, it's probably going to go pretty cheap, well under $100, I would have to think. And then, I can make the same comments on the Dryden. I've got his rookie card, and I'm, this would be another fun one to pick up because, they're kind of in warm up. He's got the helmet off, now retired, pretty cool looking card. And then a second year Gretzky in a PSA 6. So this card, without blowing it up, looks really, really well centered. I think we got to look at this because I'm wondering what's wrong with it from this angle. And this top section looks pretty good to me. I'm not sure what this little line is right here. Scrolling down, this thing looks really nice for a 6. Without looking at the back, of course, looks really nice for a 6. I can't see what else is wrong. The corners look good. Better than a 6. The edges look good for O-Pee-Chee, of course. This left edge has that typical O-Pee-Chee cut, as does the top. But this looks really nice for a 6. Someone's gonna pick up a nice card there, I would say, for what's gonna be a nice low value. What do you think?
Well, there's something to like about all these cards. When looking at the Dryden, this is by no means scientific, but he's got a colored blocker, and I'm wondering when that started to appear. If this could be one of the first colored blocker cards, I don't seem to remember. Everything was pretty leathery back in those days, so that really stands out to me. And I love sort of the now retired. It looks like that was like a last minute sort of oops, we better put something on the card, because definitely wasn't designed into the card, but to me that just kind of adds to the uniqueness of it. So big fan of this card. And then I'm super pro any Gordie Howe Hartford Whalers card. I love the the Whalers,
Yeah.
and he looks literally like he's 107 years old. Like he can't even stand up straight in this card, which is pretty.
It's pretty crazy. Like, look at he's a gray-haired grandfather here. But so is this player here. I'm not sure
Yeah.
who that is. What's interesting is that this isn't similar to the Gretzky rookie, which Mitch pointed out on Instagram yesterday. This isn't the Hartford Whalers picture. This is, I believe this is the New England Whalers, which became the Hartford Whalers. But this is probably the same game where Gretzky's rookie card picture was taken, because notice they are playing against the Oilers here. So
Wow,
this
yeah.
is from a WHA game, but doesn't bother me whatsoever. WHA was a pro league,
Yeah.
so but kind of cool. And I don't know that I ever really noticed that before right now, and I do own a copy of the card, so shame on me.
None of the Gretzky, my comment there would be, other than you're right, it's a really nice copy. On tomorrow, we've recorded tomorrow's Gongshow podcast already. And as part of that, we did a pretty deep dive into the mixed bag that is the current state of the hockey card market. And one of the things that we noticed is this card in particular, in both the tops and OPG, is really down right now, which I see as a great and exciting buying opportunity. It's not going to change my opinion of the card or its significance or how cool I think it is. And of course, as markets go up and down all the time, it'll rebound at some point. And so whether this particular one is the card for you, or it's just the 79, 80, and 81 Gretzky's seem to be fair amount down right now. So it's a great buying opportunity if there's any copies or grades of those cards you always wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that this card is alone in being down right now. So
No.
best time we've had to buy several cards really since pre-pandemic. And I'm not saying tomorrow won't be a better time. I don't know what the future holds, but now is definitely the best time we've seen in the last 3 years. Continuing on, we've got a BGS 9-5 third year Mark Messier card from the 82 O-Pee-Chee. We've got a Mario Lemieux rookie in a PSA 5, and then another one in a 7.5. So, just kind of anything under an 8 is going to be a lot more affordable for Lemieux, and certainly a 5. This was the card's off-centered. You can see it. You know what you're going to get with this card. And the 7.5 looks pretty decent from here for a 7.5, but let's open it up and just see if there's anything glaringly obvious about why it didn't grade higher, because this card actually, although it's off-centered left to right, it's really nicely centered. Oftentimes with the Lemieux rookie, there's this optical illusion that makes you feel like the top edge curls in this way, and this one is really squared up, which I really like about it. Top edge is rough, the O-Pee-Chee rough cut, but I can't see why. Nothing says to me, oh, that's why it's graded a 7.5. There are a couple of surface specs. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe there's something on the back or something on the surface we can't see, but the card looks pretty nice overall. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say that you would never want a Mario Lemieux rookie if you're building a hockey collection that includes any. I consider these kind of vintagey cards right now. It's been 38 years, so that's pretty old in my book. But just amazing cards, and I agree with you. The 7.5 looks like a really, really nice copy. It is, as you said, a little bit off center, but not to the point where I think it distracts you from an eye appeal perspective. And then the Messier is a cool card, but it kind of screams as that one of those BGS cheat cut cards, and I'm now officially a OPG rough cut snob. So
yeah, and you know what, and as am I. I wouldn't purchase this for myself, but it's a brilliant looking card as long as you're okay with it most likely not being pulled out of a pack and rather being sheet cut later on, as Beckett very as they will say, they're willing to grade those sorts of cards. Before we roll on, let's go to a couple comments. Carlos says, Marcel Dion is the most undervalued player in the history of the NHL. And that's because he played in LA and because, well, for most of his career, and because he didn't win a Stanley Cup. But I would agree with Carlos. He's certainly among the most undervalued players in the history. Goes on to say, Bossy is the greatest North American goal scorer of all time. Okay. All right, Carlos, I can accept that. Daniel loves a 79 O-Pee-Chee. Carlos says Bobby Orr is the best player of all time. Well, you know, I'll always say Gretzky. That's my opinion, but I'm not going to fight you on it, Carlos, because I know that you've got an army of people with you. Jake Dahl says, what's more iconic, 51, 52, Howe, or 79, 80? I almost wonder, Jake, did you mean to ask 79, 80 Gretzky? Because iconic-wise, definitely the 51, 52. It's not even a question, I don't think. What is up, Baz? Good to see you. Name, better late than never. Good to have you. Carlos tells me to go swallow some pure honey and I'll feel way better. I'm going to take you up on that as soon as we wrap up this show, Carlos, because, yeah, my voice is not well right now, nor is my throat. Daniel says Gordie Howe had a solid last season in the NHL for a 51-year-old. 15 goals and 43 points, I think. 51. Let that set in. I mean,
crazy.
He actually looks a lot older than 51 in 1979. Like,
he's 151.
Yeah, like I'm 51 years old right now. I think looks like Gordie could be my father in that picture. So if I might pay myself that compliment of looking younger than I am, too funny. All right, let's continue on down here. Oh yeah, so we're gonna skip now from 85 all the way to 1990 with the Martin Brodeur. And this is the Canadian version. So there's two versions. There's the Score Canadian and the Score American. You can see here on the Beckett label, they actually designate this as Score Canadian. And the only difference on the front of the card between Score Canadian and Score American is the color of the word score. It's red for the Canadian version and blue for the American version. So this is a 9.5. Centering, corners, and surface all got 9.5s. Edges got a 9. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on in this bottom corner down here. Let's just zoom in and take a quick peek. Something funky going on here, which kind of, I mean, there's so many copies of this card printed that this would just take me out of the running for this card. That bottom corner, if I was looking for, a gem mint copy, I would look for a better gem mint copy for myself. So I don't really recommend this card, but then again, if you just want to get one, you're going to probably pay under $50 for it tonight. A 1990 Mike Modano PSA 10 Upper Deck card. Again, not a rare card. Neither is the Eddie Belfour. I've been advised that this isn't even Ed Belfour pictured. That this is another goalie. I forget who. Yeah. Now I don't know if it's 100% true or not. Maybe someone in the chat can verify or at least share their understanding. But regardless, I wouldn't know that it wasn't him unless you told me. I think I like the image, but if it's not him, I don't really want the card personally. That's just my own position on it. But that again assumes that this isn't him, and it very well might be. So let's see if anyone can tell us, or it looks like Josh might be doing some research right now into it. So we'll see if you find some. Are you looking that up right now?
Yeah, I'm looking that up, and then I'm also looking up something on Mike Modano as well.
Okay, sure. This is definitely Mike Modano, and it's probably one of my favorite rookie card images from the 1990 Upper Deck set. I love the Sergei Fedorov Young Gun.
Yeah.
The Pavel Bure, it's his rookie card, but it's not a great looking. Yeah, I think he's standing there holding the trophy sort of thing. So, but this is he's celebrating a goal. How awesome is that for a rookie card? Look at. I've always liked this too, guys. Look at the man in the background. Look at how much fun this guy's having. Wouldn't it be cool to be this guy? That would be awesome. Look how young he looks. I do love the card. I'm a big Mike Modano fan too. So, a great card there. Did you find anything yet, Josh?
Not on the Belfour, but one of the things I was looking up, because I know there's two Modano cards from the 1990 set. One was an all-rookie team card where he's in the green North Stars jersey, but this is definitely the one that I prefer. I love cards that kind of more capture a moment and where a player is showing emotion and celebrating a goal. So I think that is really, you look at it's kind of comparing it to the brodeur, which is from probably like a draft day photo shoot or something like that, where I just so much prefer the in action shot versus.
So I'm zooming in on Ed Belfour's face to see if I can recognize him. I think I do. And then Peter Collect says, I looked up Belfour when you mentioned that before. It is him. There was a Puck Junk article about his older uniform and number from 1988. So, okay, well, thank you. Then I apologize for that. I had heard it wasn't, but looking, I mean, it does look like him from here. Certainly be easier to tell if this bottom part of the mask wasn't so white and we could see through it, but it does look like him. So if we're verified, then great. I'm glad to hear it, because I was kind of disappointed when I was recently informed, by recent, probably in the last year or so. So thank you, Peter, for that. And this Facebook user says, when you grade early 90s Upper Deck or O-Pee-Chee Premier, does the value increase lots because raw aren't worth much? Yeah, it does actually increase it a lot, because these cards raw, like, they're not even worth the shipping, you know, if you're gonna buy them online or remotely. So, you know, and these cards, you could put them out for sale at the Sport Card Expo. No one's gonna buy them. Like, no one's looking for these cards raw. Really, the only way they are sellable is graded. So yes, I would say that this comment is correct, or the answer is yes. The value does increase them from basically like nominal, like to like $1, maybe $2, to, you know, here we go. These are both at $30 right now. So they certainly do. Continuing on, 1991 Upper Deck, second year of Upper Deck hockey. We have a Dominic Hasek rookie and a Teemu Selanne rookie, and the French version for Selanne. So it's got his right wing position as ailier droit, is I think how you would say that, or droit if you just look at it, but I don't think that's how they pronounce it. And then, of course, the Hasek in his early Chicago uniform. And notice these PSA 10 rookies, $46 and $72 are selling for more than the Modano and the Belfour. And I guess Hasek and Selanne might be a little bit more popular, but these guys are, I mean, Modano's pretty popular. So, and then finally we have it's a Topps Chrome Refractor Pavel Datsyuk. It's at $86, so it's not a rookie. I don't think it's maybe it is a rookie. Datsyuk is, this is a rookie card, actually. My bad. This is a rookie card. So that's a pretty sweet card, actually, being a refractor. It's not a numbered refractor, I don't think, but it is a refractor and a PSA 8. Josh, any comments on any of these sort of 6 cards?
Well, I always have an affinity to the early 90s and late 80s, because that's born in 77. That's my young collecting wheelhouse, where I was 12, 13 years old. And I'll always have a special attachment to those cards. And I need to look into the Datsyuk cards, I think, a little bit more, because it feels like, and you would be able to answer this better than I could, was that sort of a weird era of the hockey hobby? It seems like that there just isn't a lot of like really good cards that represent his rookie year.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a couple of really good cards, like the titanium.
Yeah,
at a 99.
Those are really expensive.
Yeah, or there's the titanium out of 99, and then there's that's out of 13. No, it was the next year that they made them out of 99, I believe, or maybe the year before, in titanium. But yeah, he's got a rookie card out of 13 that is a major grail in the hobby. And then he's got the Upper Deck Premier Collection rookie, and then the SP Authentic. So they're decent, but I mean, it's pre-rookie patch auto. There were autograph rookies in his rookie year. Kovalchuk had one, Christian Huselius had one, a couple other guys, but Datsyuk didn't. So, but looking back in the day, I would have gone after his Premier or his SP Authentic rookie. Nowadays, I'd go after one like this. If you're not going to go for his out of 13 titanium. So,
well, that just made me think of something kind of interesting. So this is 2001. In 4 short years, think of all the rookie card options you have for Ovechkin and Crosby versus, or how much the manufacturing of cards and the type of cards and the changed in a very short amount of time.
And that was a lot of that had to do with,
LeBron.
There was the lockout year. So Upper Deck had some time to think, and then they were able to prepare for the double rookie class, which will never be matched with Crosby and Ovechkin among several others. So I think it was, they were getting ready for all the new for that double rookie class for sure. All right, continuing, we have a Jamie Benn, who's no longer in the playoffs, but his SPA, PSA 10, currently at $115. This card, he's not the player he was when he was playing at his peak. A pretty nice Ovechkin signature patch from the Cup out of 35, sitting at $725 right now. And then this is the exclusives young gun, Nathan McKinnon. It's a PSA 9. It's at $1,125. Pop 12, 4 graded higher. If you're a McKinnon fan and you are not a Young Guns fan, as I'm not, this is a great sort of alternative card to pick up. You might want to hold out for a 10, but you're going to spend more money. And what's the difference between a 9 and a 10? Really, at the end of the day, it might not be that. They could go both ways. It just depends on the day a lot of the time. So this is a pretty cool card. What do you think?
Oh, it's an amazing card. And if you're a McKinnon guy, that this is one that you would definitely want. Very interesting application of the sort of exclusives branding that year. I don't know if it's my favorite, but and I always kind of try to find like the market angle. And one of the things we were talking about, we looked up all the betting odds for next year. And does it surprise you that the Avalanche and right now in Vegas are the favorites to win next year's Cup?
Yeah, it surprises me. I mean, Landeskog's been ruled out for the whole season. He's one of their best players. They've got 4 great players with Makar, McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog. But when you lose your captain for the whole season, that can't be good. This card does have this printing error, printing defect on it that looks like it wasn't corrected, and this it could have been, but it doesn't really hurt the values of these cards too much at the end of the day. So, but just I would note that, at least if you're looking at it, note that you were able to return these cards to Upper Deck. At least the basic Young Gun. I don't know if they were accepting it for the exclusives or not. I actually don't know that. But for the base Young Gun, you could exchange these in, and they give you a corrected version where they didn't have this. You had the right color across his right arm over here. So something to keep in mind. What do we got from all you guys here in the chat? Some comments are coming in hot and heavy right now. Daniel says, what would these NHL rookies from the early 90s be worth if they were from the 60s or 70s? And there were a lot of them that are now in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, well, that's a thing, right? Like both you, Josh, and to Daniel, 1991, 91, 92, but you add up the Hall of Fame rookies in those 2 years, I don't know how many you've got, but like 18 maybe, like a dozen and a half sort of thing. And the cards are worth very little relative to, 5 years earlier or 5 years later. So maybe not 5 years later, but a little bit later anyway. So yeah, they're cheap Hall of Fame rookies from the early 90s. 90s Hockey Collector might be able to speak on this. Says late 90s and early 2000s was a weird time for rookie cards. I think it had an influence on my lack of interest in the rookie card in general. I think that's fair. My buddy Sean Math in the house says, Matthews market is soft right now. What should I do with a Pop 5 Premier PSA 10 non-auto out of $199? Well, I mean, Sean, if you're saying that the market is soft right now and you think that he's going to have a better year, he should have a better year next year than he did this year, I would just hold on to it, man. I would hold on to it. And then Carlos says, why do Young Gun exclusives out of 100 out of some players sell higher than their Cup insert RPAs? And sometimes even their Cup RPA at a 249. What is wrong with this over marketed hobby? Can someone teach them? Yeah, I don't know, Carlos. That's an interesting question. I think it's the allure of the Young Guns and the Young Guns brand. And I also think that a lot of the RPAs are not game worn pieces of patch, and that doesn't really add value to them. However, they are autographed, so that should add a bit of value. But I think it's just that the exclusives are like a harder hit, maybe because there's so much more Upper Deck flagship produced than the Cup. Josh, do you have a thought on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's the strength of the Young Guns brand. And ultimately, I really believe it's a good thing for the hobby. It's such an attractive entry point for new collectors. And as we've talked, I think maybe before, as you evolve in the hobby and you gain knowledge and experience and years of collecting under your belt, some people sort of I guess move beyond Young Guns and some don't, and that's not a bad thing. But if you kind of take it for what it is, and it's a very recognizable, identifiable, it's fairly liquid, they're very attainable, and it's a great card, I think, to get new collectors excited about hockey collecting. And so that's why I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense to me. Daniel says, I'm sure many people don't realize that Jamie Benn won a scoring title, and that is nuts. Yeah, that is nuts. Like a lot of people, I don't remember the circumstances, but you got to think that some key players were hurt that year, like Sidney Crosby, at least, maybe Ovechkin, and some others. Carlos says, I remember Jamie Benn for breaking necks. Yeah, yeah. Mark Stone, I think didn't he just pound on Mark Stone? Was it Mark Stone? Who?
Yeah, it was Mark Stone.
It was Mark Stone, yeah.
He doesn't have the Amish beard in that card, so that's kind of makes it unique.
Yeah,
Where
that's right.
Cleanly shaven Jamie Benn.
Yeah, clean cut. And this person says, I'm new to PWCC. Is it similar to ComC? Is it recommended to sell my McDavid Future Watch Auto Patch PSA 10 to these companies? And would I be tax lots, or do you recommend elsewhere? That's a big question there. You asked the same question last night, I believe. And is it similar to ComC? Only in that they're both consignment sellers, but completely different platforms. Is it recommended to sell them? Yeah, I would sell, if I was going to sell my McDavid Future Watch Auto Patch, I would definitely consign it to PWCC to sell for me. They have a great reach, that's for sure. As for taxes, you got to talk to your tax accountant, buddy. We're not going to give tax advice here on the show. Adam Crawford says the Young Guns card is the player's flagship rookie, most iconic rookie. The prices for the rare parallels are completely justified. It's hard to argue that, even though I don't love that that's the fact that it's their most iconic card, but it's like, you know, you got your 79 O-Pee-Chee Gretzky, the Young Gun is the equivalent. Like if you want to keep that sort of style of collecting, you want to get the card that would be closestly compared to an O-Pee-Chee rookie from the 70s, 80s. I would think the Young Gun would be the one. So I do agree with that. The prices for the rare parallels completely justified. Yeah, I think so too. But when you compare them to cards that have more bells and whistles, it does make you scratch your head a little bit. But it's supply and demand. It's the word iconic is, I think, aptly used here by Adam. They are iconic. The Young Gun itself is iconic, but so is the Cup RPA. So is the Future Watch Auto. So yeah.
Well, to think about this for a minute, like a year from now, maybe the Connor Bedard 101 Young Guns will not even have been pulled yet. Think of the anticipation, the chase, all the bounties, the people that are watching daily for that card. And I doubt, but maybe you can think of another example of one card that will be as meaningful to the overall market as that card is going to be. It's going to be completely bananas.
It might be the card of the 2020s, right? Like it might be the card of the 2020s. Time will tell. We'll when we can look back. Yeah. All right. Let's keep on plugging along here. Johnny Gaudreau, PSA 10 Young Guns. Speaking of Young Guns, and seems like they're. I believe who's just. I think it's Columbus that is talking about hiring Mike Babcock as their new head coach. So that could be good or bad for Johnny. I don't think Johnny's the hardest worker out there. I think he likes to kind of take things easy, chill, maybe take a few nights off during the season sort of thing. So we'll see how he does. But they have the 3rd overall pick, and if they don't trade it to his old team, my Flames, we'll see what happens there. We have a rookie year, Connor McDavid exquisite autograph out of 149 and a BGS 7.5, and then a Cup honorable numbers rookie year in a BGS 8.5, numbered out of 97. Two color patches. Autograph looks really good. It's at $4,100. Go ahead.
Can you humor me on the McDavid rookie? And because I spent way too much time staring at this card and zooming in all the way. I, for the life of me, can't figure out why the corners are a 7 subgrade. For the life of me.
I can't tell on the front, on the top too. I can't see. I mean, it's definitely harder on a white bordered card, but let's open it up and have a look at the back. So let's take a second here and let this thing pop open.
I just think this might be a really good buy where, we say all the time, buy the card, not the grade. And unless I'm missing something, which is entirely possible, that I don't get it.
I'm not seeing anything. You'd almost want to look at this card from the side. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm with you. I see nothing. Nothing sticks out to me here as being corners getting a 7. Now, there could be, if you were to turn the card on its edge.
Yeah, like bent in.
Maybe there's a dent in the corner itself. But yeah, you can't see it by looking at the card. But buyer beware. There could be some significant corner damage on one of those corners where there's a chunk out of it or something. But the surface, the front and back surfaces are still intact. So I would sort of be careful with that. Before we continue, you'd think the acetate Young Gun would be a true rookie and worth more than the Cup RPA, as it's very rare and hard to get. Listen, I don't care if it's a true rookie or not. It's a rookie year card, and they're way cooler than regular Young Guns because I like some acetate. So, yeah, I'm with you on this. But it doesn't get that RC designation because it's not from the base set itself. But I don't care about the RC designation as much as I used to. Go ahead, Josh.
I'm a big fan of the Young Guns acetate too, but I do think that there is, and we've seen this because we get tons of questions on it. There's a lot of confusion between Young Guns Clear Cut and the Young Guns acetate, and I think ultimately that hurts the value of the acetate because people are just like, oh, it's a clear cut, and they don't know that they're thicker and that there's foil printed on them. So it's kind of a branding problem to me that Upper Deck has created a little bit around that.
It is confusing. There's too many. I don't understand the formats and how they interrelate. I haven't taken the time to study it, but maybe I should. But that's a part of it for me too, and part of the reason why I just kind of stay away from them. I'll pick up as from a rookie year anyway. I'm not interested in the rookie year ones, but I did pick up the Teemu Selanne Young Gun Flashback acetate at the Edmonton Expo. I thought that was a pretty cool card. Carlos says, I'm more excited about Bedard's exquisite jersey number RPA. Exquisite cards deserve more love. I completely agree with Carlos on this. I think the exquisite RPAs are often nicer than the Cup RPAs. Bigger patch windows, it seems. Lower print run. So I'm with you, Carlos, completely on that. He goes on to say, exquisite LeBron James is a holy grail. Yes, it is. Says that McDavid is a steal right now. Would buy this over any Future Watch auto out of $9.99. He's talking about this one right here. It's only 149 of them, and it's going to sell for a lot less than the Future Watch. So yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where the hobby just doesn't always make sense, but it does make sense, like just from a branding and an importance perspective, and plus there's different, like there's one of these out of 99 that I used to have that looks similar. There's a few different versions of exquisite rookie year autos for McDavid. So there's can be some confusion there as well. He says that McDavid is worth more to me than a PSA 10 Future Watch. That's more than fair. Is the acetate Young Gun considered a 101? No. No. That would mean they only printed one of them, but they didn't. They printed more than one of those.
I think it's a short print or super short. They don't disclose how many they print, and that's again the one that comes out of the SP Authentic set and not the flagship series, but it's not. They're not 101.
Thank you. 2 McDavid Young Guns. We're on the Young Gun topic. These are both BGS 95s. This one has 2 95s, a 9 and a 10 for subgrades, 10 centering, 9 corners, and then edges and surface are both 9.5, whereas this one is a true gem. All 4 subgrades are 9.5s, and look at the prices are very close right now. So, pick whichever one you like better on those two. And then this is a pretty cool card. I mean, It's a 2015 Upper Deck Black Pro Penmanship Trio. So these are on-card autos. You got McDavid and McKinnon bookending it with Aaron Ekblad in the middle. Now, you'd think, oh, Aaron Ekblad kind of ruins the card, or, why did they put Aaron Ekblad on there? Well, I don't actually know why he's on the card with these two guys. I know that I don't think they're all from the same province or anything like that, so I'm not sure why. But Ekblad doesn't, in my opinion, ruin the card. He doesn't improve it either. So it's just I'm kind of neutral on Ekblad. He's might win a Stanley Cup this year. He's a great defenseman overall, but he's certainly not the same tier as McDavid and McKinnon. But this card's numbered out of looks like 6. I think it's a beautiful looking card as well. Let's just open up, take a closer look at it. Yeah, I mean I like the looks of this card. I do believe that it is like an acrylic card. It's not cardstock. It's a plastic card all the way through. I believe that to be the case, and they often have surface issues. This one might have a few surface issues right down over here, but other than that, looks to be clean to me. Oftentimes with autographs on these kinds of cards, you'll see scratches through the autos, but these autos look pretty clean, except for, McDavid's pen not being pressed down hard enough right over here. But that's not a surface issue as much as it's just an ink issue. So pretty cool card. What were your thoughts on this card when you looked at it earlier, Josh, if you did?
Yeah, I did, and I really like it. And one of the things in the past years, I've gotten to know the Upper Deck people a little bit and gotten to understand how they have to move hell and earth or they just have to getting these cards completed, these on card multiple athlete autos. It really has made me appreciate them so much more, and especially when you find one in this, they say, well, PSA 8 is that great condition, but knowing the journey that this card probably went through to ultimately get to the collector went to a lot of places, and it's pretty. So I think in light of that, it's a pretty good grade.
Yeah, I agree. You're not. To me, a card like this isn't about the grade. There's only 6 of them. It's about what it is. Thank you to Adam Crawford and Name for both pointing out what the commonality between these 3 players is 3 consecutive first overall draft picks. So yeah, I should have known that myself. Thanks, guys. That makes a lot of sense. Currency Project says, is Bedard planning on wearing his CHL jersey number 98? That would be a decent amount of exquisite RPAs. Don't know. I think he will. Like something, you got McDavid at 97. It only makes sense that Bedard comes in at number 98. And you're right, then it does provide for that many extra exquisite RPAs. And if Upper Deck has anything to do with it, they're going to encourage him to wear it so they can get that many more case hits out of his cup RPA and exquisite RPA. All right, on to the final page of our selected cards. Rookie year autograph, Connor McDavid, Upper Deck Premier Signatures. It's a BGS 9, Pop 3 graded higher. Decent card if you want a rookie year autograph of Connor McDavid. BGS 9, you're going to pay $1,600 at least on this card, which is probably a fair price for a rookie year McDavid autograph. You got a 2016 scripted. They changed the name to Scripted Materials from Scripted Swatches. I guess that way they could do sticks or patches, but in any event, Scripted Materials, Sidney Crosby. Pardon me. Numbered out of 35, sitting at 850, and then a PSA 10 Young Gun of Austin Matthews right here, sitting right now at 675. Over to you, Josh. Any comments on these 3?
Yeah, actually, I think a comment on all 3 of them is I always look at cards like the McDavid Premier Signatures card, and a part of me thinks, well, God, there's so many different rookie autos from his rookie year. How do you make sense of where cards like this fit in? But then the other part of me thinks at $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, something like that, you compare it to his Young Guns BGS 9.5, which we were just looking at, whereas a pop of 7,500. It's like, if I'm going to spend this sort of range of money, that my personal taste is I would probably lean towards something like this, even though it's not my favorite McDavid rookie auto, but still a cool card. And so I appreciate it from that perspective. I'm not typically a fan of autos on material card, but this one stands out a little bit different. And I think because a lot of times the auto will soak into, if it's a jersey patch or something like that, it feels like the ink soaks too much into the patch. And Troy and I looked at this one pretty closely. I don't think that that's a jersey. It feels like it's some sort of like foamy material or something like that. And I think that's why the auto, I could be wrong, but I think that's why the auto stands out on it a little bit better.
That's patch. That is patch for sure.
Oh, that is patch. Okay.
Yeah.
So it might be from the jersey then, but still, for not typically preferring autos on materials, this one doesn't bother me as much. So I kind of really like that card. And then on the Matthews market is down a lot right now. And he was pretty hurt last year, I think. So I believe there's a decent chance, kind of like you mentioned a few minutes ago, that he rebounds next year and they'll have some, they've had a lot of changes in their team and probably a lot of bad feelings towards how the playoffs ended. And so I think it's a really good buying opportunity this summer for Austin Matthews.
Yeah, especially if you think he's going to rebound next season. I definitely agree with that. This Facebook user asks, what's the highest valued card for sale on PWCC? Over $1 million, I would say. But if you just look on the screen right now, you'll see PWCC Marketplace.com. All you have to do is go there and you can search that out for yourself. Jake Dahl says, when does PWCC usually send out invoices on weekly auction wins? What I've done is I've just go into my account and go through there, and I don't wait for the invoice. I just go in there maybe you got to wait for them to process it. So it's usually within a day or two, I would think, that you can go in and do that. Carlos says, I fully agree. Been buying Matthews at 40% off. Yeah, makes sense. All right, continuing. 3 sold. See, Josh, even though we're going a little bit faster through the cards, we still didn't get through them all, but we did have more today. PSA 10, Matthew Tkachuk Young Guns does $312. I think that's kind of what we saw last week as well, right in that range. 9.5, BGS 9.5 Mitch Marner does $138. And speaking of exquisite RPAs, the Carter Hart does $113. Like, gosh, this would have been, I have a feeling this was over $1,000 when this card came out. He was super hot in the hobby back when he was.
It's a beautiful card.
It is a beautiful. Look at that like wonderfully symmetrical patch too. Really like it. But I just mean like you got nice even amounts of each 3 color. So
I have a theory on Carter Hart. I just feel like, and a little bit of this come from, we have a bunch of big time Philadelphia people that follow our show. Is that they're a team that's kind of in rebuilding mode, and you can make the argument it makes sense to move a guy like Carter Hart. And there's a couple Canadian teams that are pretty good that are a little bit desperate for goalies right now. So can you, I would love to see something like him get traded to either Edmonton or maybe the Maple Leafs. And boy, could that really juice back up his market.
Agreed. Actually, that's really, really well thought out. Edmonton or Toronto could help him if he can regain that rookie year form. I think we've seen flashes of it throughout the subsequent years of his career, but I don't think he's been consistent enough. So Carlos says he's an overhyped Stuart Skinner. Well, maybe a bit better. Maybe. I think Skinner's exceptionally hyped based on this past season. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. All right. Continuing on, we've got a Shesterkin Premier Acetate Rookie out of 149. It's a PSA 9, Pop 2, no 10s. Pretty cool card.
That's an awesome card.
It is, right? It's beautiful. The Cup RPA of Adam Fox, numbered out of 249, and a PSA 9 does $360. It's a 2-color. If that was 3-color, it would have sold for more. And then we have the color-coded Makar from his rookie year that has sold for $720, numbered out of 33. It's in a PSA 8, which makes sense. It's fine by me.
Sure.
Pretty cool. Any comments on these 3 cards? I don't really have much more to say about them right now.
Like I said, I just love the design of that Shesterkin card. It's pretty awesome. Adam Fox is the worst autograph.
It's bad.
Such a good. It's so bad. It stinks because it kind of detracts anytime he signs it. And then I'm a big fan of the color coded cards, and I really, really like that Makar card. I'm jealous of the person that got it.
Yeah. Yeah, color coded are pretty cool. It's a nice
This is
concept
different.
that they came up with. Eliminator says get Carter Hart to Ottawa. That'd be another pretty cool destination for him, actually. And then we have a platinum portraits that sold of Johnny Gaudreau. Did $32. That's pretty cheap, but it's a PSA 8. Your guy, Kirill Kaprizov. This is the PMG Red, not the tribute version. PSA 7 does $234. Pop 6, it says, with 7 graded higher. 100 copies printed. And then a J-Rob PSA 10 Young Guns at 185. Are you thinking, Josh, that now that they're out of the playoffs, that this card might have sold a little bit lower because they're no longer in the playoffs?
Yeah, this card is really a combination of a couple things. It's how the fact that they were eliminated. I don't. J-Rob was fine in the playoffs, but he didn't. As Troy and I talked about on our show, I didn't feel like he had a signature moment. Though he was just kind of there, a lot similar to like what Jack Eichel is doing. Like you could say right now that Jack Eichel isn't playing. It's hard to say he's playing bad because he isn't. He's playing, but he hasn't scored a goal in like 8 games either, right? It's just, and so I think that Robertson really needed that signature moment. And then the other thing that's really impacting that is if you go back and look to when this card really popped off at the beginning in December, the pop count was super low, and now it's really high. So many of these cards were sent in, and that is ultimately going to affect the long-term value, especially of these guys from 2020 and newer, where I think that a lot more Young Guns were printed. People are used to going from pack to envelope to grading company these days. And so you really have to look at both the gem rate and the population count before you decide how much should I pay for a card over the long term. And I'm much more comfortable at $185 with Jason Robertson than I was at $500-600. That's what people were paying for this in early December.
Yeah, well, that's when he was had the most hype going. Yeah, he didn't really have one of those moments in the playoffs, but he did score 2 goals in one of their final games there, but it wasn't enough, obviously, to get them through. Name says, I don't speak for everybody, but I would welcome Carter Hart on the Oilers. Like how you think, Josh. Yeah, for sure. And then Jake Ottinger, who's, I know he didn't perform well in that final round, but I'm going to stick with him. He's still my favorite young goalie in the league. And this PSA 10 Young Guns didn't even do $80. But again, you have to, like Josh always says, you got to look at gem rate and population when assessing, how you want to spend on a young PSA 10 Young Gun. So, but I'm going to stick with this guy and sticking with him so much that he's on the thumbnail for this episode, actually. So
yes, I noticed that. And I think, Troy's convinced he was hurt, which is just as he was looking the way he was pushing off. And the other thing that a lot of people mentioned about Ottinger is that I don't think any goalie played more than him this year, or something like between the playoffs and the regular season over 80 games. And he might have just been worn down. I feel like I'm excuse making for him right now, but
that's okay. But if that's the fact, I mean, Connor Hellebuck is kind of the perennial leader, I feel, in minutes played. So if anyone it would have been Hellebuck. But I can see Jake Ottinger being, in the top minutes played of any goaltender in the league for sure. So
I think he'll rebound next year. But yeah, you're right. He was not good in that Western Conference Finals.
And Carlos says that Aiden Hill robbed J-Rob on repeat in that Dallas-Vegas series, and then Aiden Hill won Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final. So if Vegas wins the Stanley Cup, who would have thunk it that Aiden Hill would be the winning goaltender for the Stanley Cup champions this year? He's basically a no-name, basically like a
he's relatively
player.
young too. Like before the year, my dark horse Calder candidate was Logan Thompson, who had a good start but then got hurt and missed a bunch of time. And now you got Aiden Hill. And what I just realized a week ago is Aiden Hill's only a year older than Logan Thompson. Hill's, I think, a 2017 Young Gun. He's 27 years old, which in goalie years is goalies actually peak later, and they can play at top level a little bit later, it seems like. And so I don't know how he doesn't enter next season as the starting goalie at this point.
Yeah, he should at this point now for sure. Rome, hey Rome, good to see you, man. says, did PWCC announce they'll be doing monthly vintage premier auctions? Well, they did one, and I don't know if they've confirmed they're continuing with it or not yet, Rome. So just, keep your eyes open. I'm sure they will. Wait a second. Actually, now that I think about it, I think they have. I think I've been told that they did the one in May. I think they're doing one in June, and I'm not sure what they have planned after that. But just keep a watch on Rome. Rome's got an amazing collection. He probably had the best single showcase at the Edmonton Expo.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like crazy, stupid stuff, like beautiful vintage, high-end vintage key card, like Vezina and just all like Gordie Howe and Richard, all the good card, and an unopened pack of 68 O-Pee-Chee, like just crazy, crazy stuff. I think it was 68. Yeah, really nice stuff. So anyway, that's all the cards we were watching. Pretty much everything's been sold right now. If we kind of scroll through, highlights for me, the Tim Horton rookie PSA 6 does $3,120. The Glenn Hall PSA 6 does $630. The 61 Parker Gordie Howe with the above average eye appeal rating does $810. The PSA 7 Rod Gilbert does $372. The Eddie Giacomin does $198 for a PSA 5. Paul Henderson does $162 for a PSA 5. The 1.5 Ken Dryden does $98.40. Let's just run through these, Josh, then we're going to wrap up the episode. Nothing too exciting there, nor there. The Lemieux 7.5 does $516. Some really cheap cards here. The Datsuk Refractor rookie does $105. $1,375 for the McKinnon exclusives. $1,050 for the Ovechkin signature patch. The this McDavid rookie year auto does $1,740. Honorable numbers does $4,920. The two Young Gun McDavids are still going. Those are still going. The triple auto here does $1,500. That's a nice round number. And on the final page, let's go. So these sold $1,740 on the rookie year McDavid auto. $1,000 on the Crosby signature materials. $810 on the Matthews. 3, we saw these ones already, just quite recently. So yeah, that's the PWCC hockey auction. The items that we chose to look at least for this week here, Josh, and plan is to be back next week. The plan really is to do this 3 times a month, not 4. So we're gonna give our voices a rest once a month, I feel. But any final comments from you before I go coat my throat with honey?
No, you toughed it out, man. You did a great job, and go get some rest.
Yeah, I'm gonna. All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for joining. I'll be back live Tuesday night for Taking Stock with Dennis Zender. We will be taking stock on shill bidding in the hobby space. So check that out. And Josh, anything you'd like to let the audience know about from the Gong Show's perspective?
New episode tomorrow morning, and then on Thursday we're going to have Billy Celio on again from Upper Deck to talk about the EPAC exclusive new Fleer Ultra release.
And that reminds me, next Saturday on Sports Cards Live, our guest is going to be president of Upper Deck, Jason Mashara.
Oh, so cool.
That should be pretty exciting. So bring your questions and comments for that episode. It'll be his second appearance on the show with me, and I'm excited to have Jason back in front of our audience here. So thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Thank you, Name. Have a good night yourself. And to everyone else who's watching, thank you to Abdul and Julian. Sorry. Thank you, the Currency Project, and check out their awesome cards. You got to follow the Currency Project on Instagram if you are not yet. Make sure you are. And with that, everybody, thanks so much. We'll see you again soon. Have a great end of your weekend. Good night.